Now while I wait for those parts, I'm going to tackle the LED lighting because we actually still don't have any lighting in here. So I've got those parts now and we're going to look at those. Let me take you through the process of cutting and soldering up LED strip for your projects. So basically I bought a big reel of it and I cut off a length that I needed. There are usually cut points. They are determined by these sort of like terminals here. There's like a cut line. It's just this line here, and then it gives you a positive and a negative terminal on either side. So when you cut through there, you have places to solder to. Now what I've done is I've done that, and now I've also very carefully cut away the waterproof layer so I can actually access the copper terminals. And I've got soldering iron, solder, and some flux. Flux is absolutely vital to get a nice, easy, clean sort of job out of this. So you take a tiny bit, apply it to each of the copper terminals. I don't know why I'm using a screw, but it was the closest thing I had to hand. Let's get some beads on here. Nice and easy. Wipe off the soldering iron. And then I'm just going to take a cloth and I'm going to wipe away all the excess liquid flux. Now we've also got our two wires, and I've cut these to length. So I'm just going to nip off the ends. Give them a quick twist. Then dip the ends in the flux. You don't need a lot, you just need a tiny bit. And repeat the process for these two bits as well. Coating the ends, not loads, you don't need loads, you just need it so it's the tips are soldered. And then I'm going to wipe away the excess. It really is, it isn't a very difficult job, and when you start to get the hang of it, it really does become quite quick and easy, so don't worry about trying this at home. I'm also just going to trim down these ends because they're a bit long. I don't need them to be so long. Wicked. Right, so I'm just going to, you can get lots of jigs to hold wires in place and everything, and they are genuinely really useful, but I just never seem to ever use them for some reason. So make sure the tip of my solder iron's clean. I'm just going to hold it in place. And it's done. Yet again, hold it just over the bead. Fuse them together, hold it for a few seconds, it'll quickly dry, and you're done. Try not to hold it on there for too long because you can end up burning the terminals, but just enough to get the joints just to solder in. Now I'm just going to cover the ends with some heat shrink tubing. That'll just hopefully stop any potential metal parts touching both terminals and shorting the whole system out. Now when you've got your heat shrink piece in place, there are quite a few ways you can actually shrink this. Probably, personally, I think the best one is with a heat gun, but if you don't have a heat gun, on my soldering iron here I have like the tip, but further down, if I use this area here, it's not as hot. It's still very hot, but it's not as hot, and I just rub it up and down. I don't keep it in place for too long, and I just move it around, and as you can see, the heat shrink just starts to shrink away and wrap around the ends here, and wrap around the ends. Now, do you remember when I installed this little distribution point here? Well, I've drilled some holes to get the wire all the way through, so I drilled all the way through there and through there, and now I can lead a cable to this, which is a badass LED dimmer switch. So I can turn the LEDs up and down. Sorry, this is really hard, both on. There we go, right. So I can adjust their brightness, which is great. Before it was all dark and dingy, but now look at all of this light. Oh, we've got a strip here, strip underneath the storage unit up there, this nice little strip underneath the kitchen edge here. Shower's done, just above the bed is done. Makes such a difference having light in here. I've gone for a really warm light. I think it adds to the fact that it's like wood in here. It also means that I like to be in the van, I like to be cozy, and I just prefer warmer light. I don't really like harsh bright white, like sort of 4,000, 5,000, maybe even 6,000 K LED. I prefer like, yeah, about 3,000. This is actually 2,700 K, which is a bit warmer than I usually go. I usually go for 3,000. I can definitely notice the extra warmth. I mean, if I could do it differently, I might go for 3,000, but it doesn't bother me at all. I'm so happy with the result. But yeah, it's amazing just having lighting in a van, what difference it makes. As I showed you before, we've got the bathroom on a dimmer switch. Excuse the crappy wood here because I was recycling this. This is going to be covered up by that bit of like green wall, so you won't see it anyway. And the switch will have its own cutout as well, so you will be able to see the switch, but not the bad wood. The bedroom as well is also on a dimmer switch. Kitchen area. Is just on a switch on my control panel, and I haven't got a switch on me right now, so currently this bit of light above me is just, if I pull out this fuse, it'll go out. I've got a 20 amp fuse. I've got a 20 amp switch back at home, so I'm going to wire that in when I actually get my mitts on it. But for now, I'm just going to be using the fuse